The gaming industry is one that has skyrocketed with exponential growth over the past 20 years, generating billions of dollars annually and will continue as the years come. And all the tech giants have contributed to gaming in some shape or form. Obviously, companies like Nvidia, Google, Sony, and even Apple contributes. I know some people hate Mac gamers, but those MacBooks with the M4 chips, they're getting pretty disgusting. And we recently saw that the Nintendo Switch 2 got its first Nintendo Direct, focusing on the new features that come with the console and also the price of the new games, which is around $80–90. Which hurts my eyes to look at. And actually, pre-orders were supposed to come out April 9th in America, and a couple days later Nintendo issued a statement saying that the pre-orders will be delayed, blaming Trump's tariffs for the quote-unquote evolving market conditions. Donald J. Trump, the 45th and now 47th President of the United States of America, recently ran for election and won in November, winning the House, Senate, popular vote, and the presidency. Donald Trump ran off of fighting so-called democratic corruption, lowering the price of basically everything, and of course imposing tariffs on American allies and enemies. For those of you who are unaware of what tariffs are, they basically serve as taxes that a government places on goods imported from other countries. This is usually imposed to benefit domestic industries while also encouraging jobs within said country. So for example, if you want to buy a pair of shoes from, let's say, Cambodia for $100 and there's a 10% tariff on there, it will really cost you $110, minus the shipping fees, of course. The central idea for Trump to instill these tariffs is to enable American consumers to buy domestically instead of overseas or by neighboring countries. The plan in the long run being to generate and circulate money within America, so if Americans are buying and selling, it stays within America. So that has to mean that Americans are getting richer, right? Well, not quite. The stock market says otherwise. So as a recording of this video, April 9th, the stock market did sort of come back after Trump postponed the tariffs for 90 days, except for China that is still comfortably sitting at 125%. He just really hates China or something. Anyways, I just wanted to say this before people started commenting, "Hey, you dumbass, did you see the stock market? It's back, bro. Do you look at the news?" I get it. Okay, I'm only one person. Headlines change in this country like every 20 minutes. I'm not sure why he said 90 days. Is the economy not ready for tariffs right now, so they're going to be ready in 90 days? I have no idea. You guys are the political experts. I'm just a guy reporting what I'm seeing. Anyways, back to the video. And this is where we get to the topic at hand. These tariffs are affecting the market growth of extremely important companies, most notably Nvidia being an American industry based in Santa Clara, California. Is it Clara? I'm sorry. I'm sure some of you watching this video have underestimated the importance of Nvidia's contributions, so let me tell you why they are one of the most important companies for the gaming industry. People usually correlate Nvidia to PC, so they say things like, "Hey, I play on a Switch, I don't care about Nvidia," or "Hey, I play on an iPhone 12, who cares about Nvidia?" or "Hey, I play on a toaster." You get it. The Nintendo Switch 1 actually had a Nvidia GPU, as well as the Switch 2, which will receive a dedicated GPU customly made for the new console. And Nvidia has worked with Xbox and PlayStation in the past. The original Xbox that came out in 2001 was powered by a Nvidia-made processor, as well as PlayStation 3 having a custom-built GPU by Nvidia as well. Throughout the years, however, consoles have shifted to AMD, which is another tech company that produces GPUs and CPUs, and basically every other computer-related thingy. And funny enough, Nvidia was at its highest peak in January of 2025 at $153, and as the recording of this video, only 4 months later, it's at $96. And sure, it's been slowly declining, but it has definitely taken a turn for the worse, and hopefully it doesn't keep going down because a lot of people will lose a lot of money. And the reason these tariffs are devastating for companies like AMD and Nvidia is because most manufacturing is not based in America, but rather in places like Taiwan. And actually, a study in 2020 tells us that 79% of the global chip production is made in the continent of Asia alone, and this number we should assume hasn't changed much since then, which means it's a nightmare for importing if these tariffs are in place. President Trump announced a 32% tariff on Taiwan, which will drastically change the landscape for tech companies, and especially giants like AMD and Nvidia. And you might be asking yourself, why don't they just make chips in America? Well, the reality is people in Taiwan work for a lot less. To compare, the minimum wage in Taiwan, $5.78 an hour, while in America it's around $10 for a minimum wage. I know the technical federal minimum wage in America is like $7.25 an hour, but I'd bet that 1% of companies, and I mean like an atomic amount, do not hire with that kind of pay. And if you know someone out there that is working for $7.25 an hour, please tell them to stop. I promise you, you can get a better job. I don't care what your resume looks like. You can get a job that is more than $7.25 an hour. I beg you, please. That is basically slavery. And tariffs can be catastrophic for the console industry, especially if we just disregard the production of GPUs for a second. Xbox and PlayStations are primarily manufactured in China. Well, why are they manufactured in China then? Well, almost the same thing with the Taiwan situation. Labor is cheaper, if not literally free over there, and the manufacturing is less due to China being the manufacturing hub of the world. Everything is made in China, even your PlayStation 5. And with Trump basically starting a tariff war with China, the White House says that they will raise the China tariff rate to 125%. Literally a couple days ago, I saw 104%, so I'm not sure if Trump is just getting more angry at them or what. And Beijing actually responded, raising their own tariffs on American goods from 34% to 84%, a whole 50% increase. Hopefully this doesn't turn into some Cold War thing again. So yeah, if we're looking to see the next generation of consoles at a reasonable price, whenever they come out, you're probably never going to find them. It's probably going to be a whole PS3 pricing again. What was the PS3? Like $600 in 2009? That was literally a robbery. And back to Nvidia and AMD for our PC gamers, if you're complaining about the price of a 4090 in this economy, just wait, it's going to get probably a lot worse. And although the Trump administration hasn't specifically targeted chip imports yet, there will be tariffs on aluminum in China, which they hold the title of being the largest producer of aluminum across the entire world. And aluminum is important for making chips and many other things that are important with the day-to-day life, so that's not really something good to hear. And this is bad as smartphones, computers, lithium-ion batteries, toys, and video game consoles make up the bulk of Chinese exports to the US, but there are so many other things from screws to boilers. Yeah, a lot. 125% tax, and literally as I'm recording this yesterday, it was at 104%. I'm not sure where that 21% came from. This is like if Trump and Xi Jinping were playing Russian roulette, but with our money. And actually, for those who play mobile or just own a phone in general, well, phones are going to cost more. Again, for the 600th time, iPhones are made in China. Androids are mostly made in China as well. A pretty hilarious story, Tim Cook actually got pretty scared and made Apple send 5 planes filled with iPhones from China to India to America before the tariff deadline. Which sounds like something straight out of a movie. I'm not going to be the one to do the math on how many iPhones is 5 planes worth, but it sounds like a very insignificant amount, for the whole country at least. And following with the 90-day pause on the tariffs that significantly helped the economy come back, as it looked like an all-red winter stat beforehand. But if Trump does plan to initiate these tariffs after the 90 days, we would have to think of the long-term effects of different manufacturing opportunities for certain industries like Apple, Nvidia, AMD, Sony, and the list goes on. Companies will most likely have to expand or relocate certain manufacturing operations due to the massive taxes imposed on products that are basically a necessity here in America. And perhaps there will be an even more need to shift from digital to physical, as China and Mexico are the biggest manufacturers of physical games, and we've already talked about China, but Mexico is initially being targeted with a 25% tariff. We've already seen over the years that there has been a lesser need for physical games, as now Xbox sells an all-digital Xbox Series X, and the PS5 Pro literally has no disc drive. Which personally I prefer. I know there's an argument where you actually don't own digital games, and if gaming services run out, you won't be able to play them, but I simply just don't like putting the disc in. I'm too lazy for it, I'm sorry. But obviously this isn't a good thing. I do still wish people get the option to buy physical, but as the years progress, the window of opportunity is slowly closing in, sadly. And in an apocalyptic world, we could see a shift from even consoles to cloud gaming as proposed by certain analysts if hardware becomes too expensive. As you guys know, cloud gaming doesn't require a 4090 RTX. That costs over $2,000 in today's market. But obviously cloud gaming sucks. Nobody wants that. Look at Stadia. The day we're forced to play cloud is the day the world ends. Hopefully, we start to prioritize cloud when I'm not here in like 100 years. Maybe it'll be good then. Now, please don't promote it. I don't want to see it. But I'm getting sidetracked. These tariffs can cause a major shake on the world, and more specifically the gaming industry, as even the price and resources used to create games themselves can be changed in a very harmful way. And if Trump does actually take these tariffs in effect in 90 days, I wonder what these tech companies would do to most effectively combat the tariffs on foreign imports. I believe the most prevalent things to look out for with these tariffs are things hardware related, as most manufacturing takes place outside the US. Perhaps if the US had slowly shifted to manufacturing more at home, these tariffs wouldn't have sounded so bad or taken such a huge toll, but because America isn't equipped with the firepower to produce yet, these tariffs have come back to stab us in the back. Most likely the price of consoles, GPUs, CPUs, and basically the price of everything used to run some sort of computing device will be raised to a certain extent, which could lead to some variation of issues. Whether that could be availability, as there would be less imports of certain hardware because of the taxes placed on them, or things like live services in order to play online can be raised for consoles in order for companies like Microsoft or Sony to compensate for their losses on the tariffs. And I wouldn't be surprised if they do so. I mean, literally last year, PlayStation upped the price from $60 to $80 for PS Plus for literally no reason. Mind-boggling stuff. But everyone enjoyed the moment. Obviously, I cannot predict the economic state of the world, because if I did, I would be rich. I mean, some of us don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow, so we have no idea on how these tariffs will actually play out. Something tells me that things could go extremely bad, but the government will just call it off. I hope. or the tariffs can be a good thing. I have no idea. Let me know what you guys think about the tariffs. Do you guys think it will really affect gaming that much? And please try and refrain from having a political debate in my comment section. I mean, you guys can say whatever you want, but the focus of this video isn't to bash Republicans or Trump's actions, but to just imply what's going to happen due to his actions, if that makes sense. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you watched until this point, I heavily appreciate it, and I would also appreciate a subscription. That would be awesome. And drink water. It's good for you. And I watched a Minecraft movie, and I actually really enjoyed it. I mean, the CGI was terrible, and the character development was horrid, but it was a fun experience. Thankfully, I've been seeing on Instagram the chicken jockey scene where people start throwing popcorn and soda. Thankfully, I didn't have that in my theater. I had a pretty empty theater, because if someone threw that shit on me, I probably would have crashed out. I'm not gonna lie. I do not, like, I can take popcorn, but not soda. I do not want soda on me. I literally saw a person put a chicken in the theater. It's some really crazy stuff. I mean, imagine what the employees had to go through when they saw the popcorn and soda on the floor. I would have probably quit right there and then. It might have been like hell on earth. Anyways, bye.